Hi, how's everybody doing? This is going to be my third and maybe last video for today. But I wanted to talk about this so-called gender war. And one thing that I want to say about it first is there is no gender war. There is just femicide. And when it comes to black women, black femicide, because that's what I'm most familiar with, is the crimes committed against black women and how black women are the most likely to experience violence at the hand of her intimate partner, especially, and violence within her community. So, there is no gender war. A lot of people say this and they try to say, push this fear mongering against feminists as if feminists are out there promoting some sort of war and against patriarchy. In a sense, we're trying to liberate ourselves, which when it comes to any sort of oppressive relationship, the oppressor will feel as if the oppressed liberating themselves is an act of war, because the oppressor themselves know that in order to gain any sort of power, they believe their philosophy is if they have to attain any sort of power, that they have to do so through acts of violence. So let me tie that into what I'm saying about this gender war. Patriarchy and the men who perpetuate patriarchy are at war with women. And they view women who identify as feminists as women who will somehow enact violence against the system to liberate themselves. But I have yet to see any women in any feminist circles I'm in, and I've been in some extreme circles. I have yet to see women say that they want to act out against men in a violent way unless she was trying to defend herself. So what I'm going to say is this: when there is a system that is oppressing people, and in this case a system of male power oppressing female humans, there is no way that they are at war with the system when the system has been perpetuating the war against them for centuries. There is no way that women speaking on defending themselves against acts of violence and abuse is a waging war against the oppressor. There is just no way that we can say that women are at war with men if we are not committing gender-based violence in the ways that men have been committing gender-based violence against women. What I see from women, and this is just my observation when I'm in feminist circles and women's groups, is that these women actually want to be loved by men, but the problem is that we're in a war world where we're inside of a war zone where men are inherently being toxic and hurting women physically, sexually, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, and we're just trying to survive in this world in the best way that we can. So women are not trying to hurt men. We're trying to protect ourselves. So there is no gender war. So when I see people say I'm not on either side, you're not choosing a side. You not choosing a side is perpetuating femicide against women. You not choosing a side is further oppressing women when men are actively inflicting violence and abuse against women. You're saying that you don't have the courage to take a stance to fight for the oppressed or the vulnerable group because the system itself is very powerful, and you don't want to challenge the system and the people that uphold that system because you fear them attacking you. And that's kind of, I remember when I went to the Museum for Human Rights, they talked about this when it comes to, war in general, that, there's kind of like this bystander effect. Like, I'm watching this war going on, but I'm not going to interfere with this war because I don't want to be attacked in the way that the oppressed or the vulnerable group is being attacked. So what you have is women and men who know that women are experiencing trauma and violence from their intimate partners and men within their community, but they don't want to take a stance and say, you know what, I will defend these women. I will speak for women's rights. I will support movements or organizations that help women. You know, they're not trying to contribute to the liberation of women because either one, they're afraid of challenging a system of patriarchy, which is predominantly ran by Caucasian men, or two, they are people who want women to be oppressed, or they don't want women to be liberated because maybe they're oppressed and they're shackled to this system, and they don't. And one thing about any person who is shackled, they don't want nobody else to be free if they're not free. You know what I'm saying? It could be for other reasons as well, but those are the first two that come to mind. But what I want to say is this: there is no gender war. Women just want to be loved. Women just want to be treated with respect. We want devotion from our partners. We want them to be faithful to us. We don't want to experience abuse at the hand of our partners. We want our partners to make us feel safe when we're with them. We inherently just want to be loved. But men, for some reason, for whatever reason, there's plenty of theories out there if you do the research on why men spew hate women so much. But they hate us. They don't like us. They want to harm us. I personally think that it's a certain bloodthirst that any man may have that they want quenched. We see it in how they attract them, or how they are attracted to such violent types of entertainment or and such, and how they are very aggressive when they are participating in sports that where there's a way for them to try to win something. Men are very bloodthirsty and competitive in nature. That's just my opinion. Maybe not all of them, but a nice size group of men are very competitive when it comes to trying to win. And since a lot of men have it in this war that they want to be on top at all times, they kind of enact this competitive and aggressive nature towards women to keep them at the bottom and them at the top. So they are at war with us. They have put it in their mind that they want to be the main power or the top power in the world, and they've already claimed that position, and now they're trying to keep it. So they are actively trying to keep us oppressed so they can remain the powerful structure within the world. And it's like women are not trying to fight them on it. We're just trying to liberate ourselves and survive in this world. And these men are making it very difficult for us to do that because they're at war with us. So that's what I wanted to say. There is no gender war. It's just pretty much femicide, or what you would call genocide, because they attack children as well. It's not a equal battlefield, because women do not have the same amount of power that men have. We don't have as much power as men have. So the playing field is not equal or even. Men are at the top of the food chain and women are probably at the bottom. And that's just, or not probably, but men are at the top of the food chain, women are at the bottom, and then children beneath them. So it's just that this is not a war. It's pretty much just an oppressive system oppressing a very vulnerable group who does not have power. So that goes out to the folks that like to say, well, it's neutral. Women do the same thing that men do. No, we don't. Their violence is 80%, over 80% committed by men. Women are not equally as violent as men. Nor do I think that most women are even trying to be as violent as men. And if she is, if she does have weapons, and if she does take self-defense classes, it's primarily to be self-defensive because of the world that we live in and because of the war that's against us. So this is my question to you. Which side of this so-called gender war are you on? Which side is your choices in your life and the things that you're teaching your girls and boys, your children? Which side is that helping? Is that helping the vulnerable group, or is it helping the oppressive group? Look in all areas of your life and see how you are contributing to this gender war. Are you further oppressing women, or are you trying to liberate women? Figure out what side you're playing on. You know what I'm saying? And stay on that side. That's all I'm going to say. Stay on that side. But at the end of the day, my side is on the side of liberating women. And the people I surround myself with are the people who want to liberate women. And if they don't, they're not my people. And that's just the bottom line. So, figure out what side you're on, play on your side, and this is what I'm going to say. I encourage you to liberate women. And the reason why I say this is because if you liberate women, you are liberating an entire society to include the men. If you liberate women, you are liberating an entire society to include the men. Because there has not been many times in history that women were empowered in enacting violence against anyone. At least not a black woman. So be on black women's side, because one thing about us is we want all of our people to eat. We want all of our people to be happy. We want all of our people to be successful. I'm not too confident that black men want the same for all of us. I kind of feel like, because I see them in podcasts talking about pretty much slavery in marriage, meaning the woman being a slave or submissive, or them dominating women in relationships, I can just imagine what they would do if they were running a system. Probably the same thing that Caucasian men do. You know what I'm saying? So my advice is to get on the side of liberating women, especially black women. Because if you liberate women and black women, you're liberating all of us. That's just my opinion. That's the strategy I came up with after seeing the war for myself come into my home in a way that I can't even explain. I can just only say it's kind of psychological and spiritual. And the strategy that I see is, women getting into positions of power to liberate all people. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I see, and that's what I would suggest for anybody, is to get on the side of women and see where in your life are you either helping women or are you further hurting them by remaining remaining neutral when there's an active war against them, which further oppress them, or on the side of men where you feel like men are inherently good in the midst of there being a gender war that they're perpetuating against women. So think about that for a little bit. I just want you to think.